Hey everyone, how you doing? Doug Barry here. Appreciate you being with me. This is our live event, our YouTube live event right now. And let's see, we get some people jumping on board here. We are running just a couple minutes behind. Small technical issue getting things up and running here, but we are good to go now. And we are going to be talking about an event we're coming up next week and really want to invite people to take part in. And that's what this live event is all about. So I want to encourage you all to jump on board and be ready because we got to get skilled. We got to get trained up, especially in light of everything we see happening in our world right now. So, all right, we got people jumping in the room here a little bit, and we're going to be talking about in this live event what's been going on in the world. Obviously, we see a lot of things happening. We talk about that a lot here on my YouTube channel and on BRC in general, Battle Ready Coalition, brcoalition.com, going out there to brcoalition.com, and please look at what we've got out there. We are really trying desperately to help people get better prepared. Body, mind, and soul, be better prepared, especially in light of everything we see going on. We have a live workshop coming up next week. We'll be talking about this live free workshop next week, August 30th and September 1st, called Skilled. Title of this one is, is everyone called to leadership? I mean, are we called to leadership? Is there something about what we are called to be part of and to do in this world, to be leaders? And the answer is simply yes. And how does that happen? How does that look? What does that look like? We're going to talk about that, break that down just a little bit. But you are called, as am I, to be involved in a leadership role of some sort, even if that's simply through our example. Unless you're living, I don't know, under a rock somewhere or on another planet, people see you. People see us day to day. They see how we behave. Even walking out of a grocery store, how we talk, how we interact with people, all plays a part in how we're leading. Are we being true witnesses, true examples of Christ? And so this is something we need to be thinking about always. So we want to turn everything over to God, ask God to guide and bless everything that we do, turn everything over to him in prayer. Blessed Mother, please pray for us. St. Joseph, pray for us. We want to make sure we're calling on the saints and the angels to be part of everything that we do. But this workshop that we're doing next week, it's called Skilled, is really going to be challenging us to really look at how skilled we are, or are we just kind of preparing with the things we see in the world? Are we preparing for what's going on, but not really doing anything to train up for that? One of our favorite approaches to look at the skilled idea in life is there are people out there who will buy gear, they'll buy equipment, they'll get materials, they'll buy extra water, extra food, they'll get a solar powered battery station, they'll get all those little things that they need, those little doodads for their go bag, their bug out bag, but they don't practice using them. Skill of even reading a map is lost these days to a lot of people. You can imagine this. If GPS goes down, a lot of people are completely lost. They do not know where to go. They do not know what to do. Do you have an atlas? Okay. Do you have an atlas with you, a road map that you keep in your vehicle? I travel with one. I keep it in my backpack. It's a small, mid-sized one. So even when I'm on a trip somewhere, if I'm out in Maryland or North Dakota or somewhere else in the country, California, wherever, I have an atlas with me. So if GPS goes down, because we're all used to the GPS on the phone, aren't we? A lot of people use GPS just to get around town regularly. I understand that. I do too. So if I look up an address, I can just punch it in GPS and GPS tells me where to turn, tells me when to turn. In a quarter mile, turn left. GPS is starting to give us, in some places, landmarks to look at. At the Chick-fil-A, turn left. If all that goes down, a lot of people aren't even going to know how to get across town. Unless it's your town you grew up in or you've been there for a long time and you get used to it and you know it. Sure, there's certain ways you can get here and there. But imagine there's a serious crisis and the power goes down, street lights are down, there's chaos in the streets, people are backed up, and you can't drive down regular streets to get home because they're all bogged in. They're all bogged down. They're all packed in with all kinds of people, and maybe it becomes a dangerous situation because it gets a little bit desperate. And a lot of people just don't know how to get across town on foot if they can't go down the main roads because they don't have the skill to even read a map. So the idea of Skilled, the workshop, is to really help us look at some of the most basic things that we should have a skill in when it comes to general survival. And I'm not talking about surviving an apocalyptic event like a nuclear war, though that is not off the table these days. We both know this. We all know this, especially with what's going on in Ukraine, Russia right now, and now China, Taiwan. And then we hear talk of anybody from Iran and North Korea, and all this talk about, they could launch a nuclear missile that could explode at several, 100 miles or 100 miles in the atmosphere and cause an EMP and shut down the power grid. I know for a fact from some of the people that I work with and talk with who are military, ex-government, that is absolutely something that has been considered and talked about regularly and repeatedly in those circles to know if and when it would happen, what would that look like? And how would that unfold? And some of you are familiar with things like 1 Second After, I think is the book, the program, whatever it is. And you will see, all kinds of people looking at that scenario. And the bottom line is we don't know what it's going to look like. We have ideas and we can speculate. We can draw conclusions based on A, B, C, and D. But in general, we don't know what that's going to look like if and when something like an EMP hits. So whether it's something as serious as an EMP or power just goes out in your city for a storm and trees are down and people can't drive this way, that way so easily, do we have the skills to get through these types of situations? So that's what the workshop is about. And we got some people chiming in over here on the right in the chat box. Brad, greetings from Minnesota. Good to hear from you, Brad. Edna from Arizona. I love this. I always say this. We'd have our BRC lives, our BR Coalition lives that we do. For those of you who are signed up BRC members or BREP members, which is the Battle Ready Emergency Preparedness course that we offer through brcoalition.com. And twice a month, I will do live events where we just get on and we just talk. And I think the last one we did was close to 4 hours long because so many people asking questions, everything from spiritual situation to what's going on a natural level. And we want to address as much as we can with it and give people hope and encouragement. But I always love when we start the BRCs and people to chime in from all over the place. And like here, Minnesota, Arizona, we got Shreveport checking in, Laura. We got hi, John and Pam in Rio Vista, California. And we got a Texan here, Central Texas, Cold War prepper. I like that. Okay, Tim checking in. Hey, Doug, what's up? Good to be live from Manassas, Virginia. This is what's so phenomenal. God has given us the technology to be able to do things like this where we can reach out in an instant. We can go live like this. We got 71 people in the room right now. And we've got people checking in from Minnesota, Arizona, Shreveport, California, Texas, Manassas, Virginia. Okay, hello from Niagara Falls. Awesome again. On the Ireland. Eddie's checking in from Ireland. I like that. Got my Ireland hat on here. Okay, my last name, Barry. I think there's a county over there named after me. Actually, I'm probably named after the county. I'm sure the county came along before I did. So we got Ireland checking in. Good to hear from you. Eddie from Ireland. Mike from College Station, Texas. I just drove near College Station a couple weeks ago. Heading down to San Antonio from East Texas, where I am. Hello from Kansas. Judy checking in. Brian from North Carolina. And Missouri. Joanna, good to hear from you all. Awesome to have you out there. Arkansas checking in. Lloyd. This is what we can do with the technology and the time that we have. So when we do these live events, and I love doing the live events, I love knowing that people are out there interacting right now. Virginia Beach, Maria. I was just in Virginia Beach recently. I flew out of there, actually. Norfolk, Virginia, which is right by Virginia Beach. I was in North Carolina, gave a talk out there, a retreat. It was a great moment, great experience, and good people out there. Idaho checking in. Oh, that reminds me real quick. By the way, I'm a sticky note guy. I have my sticky note dispenser right here. Ta-da. And every now and then I get an idea. I got a just quick sticky note. So give me 1 second. All right. And stick it right there on the monitor. Make sure I take care of certain things. So I am a sticky note guy. It's more old school. I know. I do have the ability on my phone to make notes on there. And you know what I had to do? I had to make a sticky note to put on my desk to remind me to check my phone notes. That's just me. Okay. Lori checking in from Michigan. Gwen from Wisconsin. Paulette checking in from Brockport, New York. I love it again. Michelle again, Idaho. Every time I hear Idaho, I have to say something about Idaho. You ask me why? Idaho, I just have to. Okay. Terrible jokes about Idaho. I got to throw it out there. Hello from Florida. Recent retransplant from North Carolina. All right. Very nice. Good to hear from you, MB there. And Mary Falla checking in from Iowa. I was in Nebraska for many years, my whole life, my entire life. Raised in Nebraska, got out of Nebraska 3 years ago, moved down here to East Texas. I love it down here in East Texas. I love the weather down here. Do not miss the cold weather in the Midwest. And I know, Mary, you know what I'm talking about, Iowa. Steve Bernard, BRC member. Nice. From Central Texas. Hog on Wild. I remember you. All right, Steve. Good to have you on. Black Hills, South Dakota. Oh, Black Hills are nice. I've been there. Yeah, great place up there. Beautiful, beautiful land. Went through what is that? Darn it. The dead place. What's it called? Mary, maybe you can help me out. What is it? Why can't I remember it? Badlands. Thank you. complete escape from my memory right there. Went to the Badlands. Really unique place. God just had one of those moments when he thought, okay, and right here, I'm going to do the Badlands. I'm going to do this geographical experience. It is phenomenal, but it is out of the blue. You're driving along South Dakota, farm or fields, pastures, and then boom, there's the Badlands. It's amazing. If you haven't been there, go check it out. Valerie, hi, Doug, saying hello from St. Louis, Missouri. Good to hear from you, Valerie. I love St. Louis. Great place down there. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. New Hampshire, Donna checking in. Good to hear from you, Donna. This is what I love. We got 81 people, everybody coming from different parts of the world. So what do we do with this? Leadership. Are we all called to leadership? Yes, we are. We're called to be active in some way, shape, or form. You know, God puts us all in a position where someone is entrusted to our care, at least the example that we give to others. And so it's important to be thinking about how we can be leaders for one another, what we can do to help each other, and how we actually need to grow with regards to becoming better leaders in our world. And part of becoming a better leader is, and we lead through example, we turn to Christ, of course, as the role model of leadership. But we also have to remember that we have to be maybe looking at different things that we need to grow in for those leadership skills to develop. And again, that's part of why we're doing the free workshop next week, August 30th, September 1st. You can go out to BR Coalition. In fact, I've got it right here, brcoalition.com/skilled, brcoalition.com/skilled. And I'm going to pop that right here in the box. brcoalition.com/skilled. Make sure I got that right. There it is. Okay. I just popped that there in the box. brcoalition.com/skilled. If you go out there, sign up. It's free workshop. We're going to talk about some main areas, some primary areas, some priorities that we should be thinking about regarding developing our skills. Some of you out there are taking the steps, I know, to be better prepared. And times of the workshop. Thank you for asking. Let me do this real quick while I got you all on here. Okay, real quick, 1 second. Buzz out there. And see if the times show up on here. Looks like, okay, I'm not seeing. We've got August 30th or September 1st. I don't see the times listed on here. And if you click on it, it gives you the option. There we go. Found it. Tuesday, August 30th at 2 p.m. Central. Tuesday, August 30th at 2 p.m. Central. Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m. in the evening there. Central. Both are Central times. So 2 p.m. on Tuesday, August 30th, or 7 p.m. on Thursday, September 1st. Those are the times we'll be having the free workshop. Now, when we did this last time, we had so many people sign up because you can only have, I think, 1,000 in each room. And I know they're filling up. We just started announcing this a couple of days ago. And great. Thank you, Haley. Haley jumped in there, my daughter-in-law, and took care of putting the times out there for me. I should have known she was watching. She's amazing and does great work on this. So you can pick the ones you want. If they fill up, we may add more. We've done that in the past. Feel free, get on board, sign up, and let's get going on developing the better skills that we need. So we got MJ Donnelly checking in from Pennsylvania. Good to have Pennsylvania checking in there. All right. Joanna says signed up for the skill the other day. Awesome, Joanna. Appreciate you doing that. By the way, Haley is an amazing person. We loved our chat with her today. Awesome, Pamela. She is. She's incredible. So, and I thank God for the work that she does behind the scenes every day. This is such an important time right now, everybody. The focus on today's live is leadership. We turn to Christ. We grow. We develop our skills, we grow, we lead by example, we help others grow. We need to be doing more of this. I do want to share with you all something that I experienced 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago. I was at a conference with about 45 other people. I'm not going to give too many details on it about where it was and who all was there, but I will tell you this. There were several intelligence officers there who worked for the government. And then there were others involved in ministry work and priests and pastors and many others. And this was a think tank conference that we were all invited to. And what it was this approach that our country and our world, but specifically America. And I know we've got Eddie from Ireland on here, but this impacts the whole world ultimately because it's about free nations in general and freedom in general. And we really looked at what was going on, what is going on, what has been going on in the country, in the government, and other places for a long time. And what could be done to really do something that would turn it. They pretty much very simply put it this way. Things in America, and America affects the whole world, I should say, the whole world. I mean, we all affect each other, but there's something about what God has done with the blessings of Western civilization. You know, in many respects, the United States has a predominant impact and influence on the whole world. And we know from looking at things happening in the news and things happening in the world that we are very much in trouble with regards to our leadership in the country. If there's anything that focuses on or helps us understand the importance of good leadership, which is what this live is about, it would be looking at our current government. And when you have corrupt leadership, broken leadership, flawed leadership, and I don't mean that they made a mistake, apologized for it, owned up to it, and then tried to fix it. We all do that. We all make mistakes. We all have to do our best to keep working on that. I'm talking about when you see situations where it is just blatantly disordered, blatantly broken, and they don't care. That's a different problem. This conference addressed that on many levels and in many ways. And I'm not going to go into the details except simply to say this. We are so far gone that the consensus from those who are in the know, those who worked in this industry, still work in the industry for more than 20 years. I asked them point blank, we'll get together with just a handful of them there in the lobby of the hotel. Do we turn this around in America? And all of them, the ones I talked about, 3 or 4 that were there, said no. Apart from God, we don't turn this around. Because as far as man goes with this, and those that are on the corrupt side of things, as far as man goes, and as man is taking this, we are already so far gone. The terminology that we hear, for example, you're not supposed to say what sex are you, male or female. It's what gender are you. And if you focus on the male or female only, and granted, I know we got good people here, good people. And even though the 113 or so that we've got right now, if all of us said, no, I'm standing my ground and this is how I'm going to say it, and we should, we know the retaliation and the consequences that come from those who don't agree with us. It's not just a matter anymore of, well, that's your opinion. This is my opinion. You say what you say. I'll say what I say. That's okay. Tomato, tomato. Okay, we'll just talk how we want. That's not it. It is you not only must not approach it with terms like, what is your sex, male or female? You must use what is your gender and your pronouns. Not only you must use it, you need to embrace it. And if you don't, you're a hater. They've gone so far as to actually create hate laws, hate speech, criticisms of anybody who stands firm on biblical principles and truths. This is where we are. And all of that terminology leads to action. Don't discount that. When people start saying, well, these are just words, it's not that big a deal. Words affect how we think. How we think affects what we believe. And what we believe, what we truly believe, is what we will act on. We act on those things that we believe. And we believe those things that come into our mind with ideas through dialogue, through the dialectic, through language. So when we hear terms, for example, like woke, That's a big one. The woke one gets me because when you hear that, you have to realize that the term woke is very much a Marxist term. Marxism. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's go back 100 years and see how certain things crept in, especially in the Catholic Church. For example, many of you might be familiar with a woman named Bella Dodd. Talk about corrupt leadership and the importance of you and I being good leaders because of how it affects all of society. Bella Dodd admitted, a woman back in the early 1900s, that, and she admitted it later. She went to Archbishop Fulton Sheen, Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen. She was friends with Alice von Hildebrandt, the wife of Dietrich von Hildebrandt, a man who spoke out openly against Hitler and was put on Hitler's list to be executed. In fact, there were a few times when, and I interviewed Alice von Hildebrandt years ago, 15, 20 years ago, give or take. Me and my friend Eric Jennis interviewed her. And she was very clear that her husband escaped a handful of times, sometimes within 24 hours before the Gestapo showed up. This is a man that St. John Paul II claims much of his spirituality came from the brilliance and the holiness of Dietrich von Hildebrandt. So Dietrich von Hildebrandt affected John Paul II with words and thoughts that deepened his belief, and then John Paul II's behavior from that belief. Well, let's go back to Bella Dodd. Bella Dodd was really instrumental in bringing into seminaries in the Catholic Church over 1,000. She's responsible for over 1,000 men who were card-carrying communists who presented themselves as the best priest possible, went into the seminary, from the seminary became a priest, and then when these priests rise to the position, because they're so good, so holy, they rise to the position of bishop, then they take over seminaries. Then the seminaries become altered. And now, ultimately, we have what we have here today. And I'll say this. When it comes to the church, I know we got a lot of good Catholics out there, probably some non-Catholics as well joining in, but mostly Catholic. There are people out there right now who will say, if only the bishop's this, and if we call them out, and if we make them accountable, and they don't care. A lot of them don't. There are some that are simply scared and they're gutless, yes, and they're spineless. There are many who are complicit with the evil. There are those who will say, well, let's just hit them in the pocketbook. Let's not support the diocese with our money. Many of them don't care, and they don't need the money because they're being funded by the Communist Party, by the Marxists. Now, I'm saying this openly on a live. I know the potential consequences of this sort of thing. This is the sort of stuff that people have to understand is going on in our world. How important is it for you and I to be the best leader we can be in a time that we're in right now, especially, as I pointed out, all over the country and even Ireland, our good friend, our brother from Ireland, all over the country, Idaho, California, Pittsburgh, we had Virginia, Arizona, Texas, Florida. We have people from Norfolk, Virginia. We have people all over Virginia Beach, all over the place. If each of us in our corner of the world really did the best we could, if we worked with each other, if we developed those leadership skills, if we became more skilled, right? The workshop next week, August 30th, September 1st, skilled. Share this information with others. Get other people on board. We need to be training up now. They've been doing this, the Marxists, for over 100 years. Before Marx and Lenin, there was Hegel. There were others out there. Their idea of depopulation, reducing the population. This is not conspiracy. They have been open about it, and this is one of the things that we were very well versed in. They versed us in at this conference. These intelligence officers and others who have been studying this and are constantly studying this. This is not opinion. They're not looking at this as, well, this is how we see it and this is what we think. They're saying this is what we find from what we have researched, the analytics, the data, the information from these people from Woodrow Wilson back in the early to now. You see so many steps that were taken to undermine and destroy. Pro-choice. What does pro-choice mean? It comes from that advertising. This is an effort to alter the way people think about abortion. It's not pro-abortion to them, right? No, it's pro-choice. And notice the terminology they use for those of us who are pro-life, those who believe in the sanctity of life, the dignity of life, right? From conception to natural death. What do they say about us? You're anti-abortion. You're anti-abortion. Right? You're anti-choice. That's a better one. They use that. You're anti-choice. That's the one they like to use because it says that we're against something that really is positive because choice is positive. So this is a dialectic war that leads to a thought process, that leads to a belief, that leads to a behavior. We've got to get that through our heads. The importance of us becoming the best leaders we can be is essential. Essential. Now, I guarantee you, the numbers are small of you and me. The numbers are small. It's not the majority. If you're on this live right now, 125 right now in the room, we're a minority. We're the minority of the minority, right? Even in the Catholic world, you're the minority. If you pray the rosary every day, you're the minority. I have a rosary right here, right? Keep this rosary on my desk at all times. I have one in my pocket when I travel. Whenever I go to the house, I don't leave the house without a rosary in my pocket. I just don't. Scapular around the neck, rosary in the pocket. And I always have a few other items on me when I leave the house. Won't go into detail. I will show you this one, though. Tactical flashlight. I got to bring this up in almost every presentation and talk that I give. A tactical flashlight. I don't go out of the house without this either. Why do I say this? If you pray the rosary, if you are a daily rosary praying individual or even regularly praying the rosary, you're in the minority, even in the Catholic world. Now, a lot more are praying it now. And we had this article that came out a couple weeks ago, was it? And in the article, what did they talk about? From the Atlantic. Some of you saw this? One second. In the Atlantic, the article attacked Catholics who pray the rosary, right? They say it's being weaponized and it's moving us to more of a nationalist, a white nationalist approach and radical and extreme. These are words that were used. Now, there are people who just laughed it off and said, we know what's going on. Okay? They throw these terms out there. It's really not that, this guy is just a bit of a nut. Don't worry. We're going to pray for him. Hopefully he'll see the light one day. This guy's a young guy, by the way. All right. He's from Canada and he's I'm saying maybe upper 20s to 30-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, just from his picture that I saw. I don't have any other idea other than that. But I will say this. I do not believe that he did this on his own. Maybe he did. I could be completely wrong. But based on what we learned in this conference and how a lot of this goes on behind the scenes, there are a lot of times people in upper positions, higher positions, even above people like George Soros, who will never be known. They have money and power like you and I could never even imagine. And they will oftentimes go to someone like this young guy and say, hey, here's an article for you. And they're going to work through the channels, obviously, to get to him. They're going to go to this person, the owner of the paper, or the website, go to editor, and editor's going to go to the writer and say, hey, here's an idea. Why don't you do this? Here's a topic we'd like to address. We think this is going on. Why don't you write something on this? And this person could be, call them the useful idiot idea that's out there, that term. But in general, what you got is someone who writes an article, starts floating these words in relation to other words: extremist, radical, radtrad, Catholic, rosary, AR-15. They actually, in the article, directly go after Father Richard Heilman, my friend. They go after him and quote from his website, Roman Catholic Man, things they take from there. And one of the terms they use is battle ready, which is something that I've been talking about for years. So you get that feeling that you're being trolled. You get that feeling that they're looking at some of us out there who are praying the rosary and recognize it for what it is, what the church has said it has, for hundreds of years has said it is, a spiritual weapon. And I know a lot of you know what St. Padre Pio said about it being the weapon of our times, but even the Blessed Mother telling St. Dominic back in the 13th century, if you want to know what will defeat this in this battle, what will do well in this battle, it is my angelic psalter. It is the battering ram, she says. She also says she wants to reform the world through the rosary. But she refers to it as a weapon. She refers to it as a battering ram in this battle, in this warfare. This is not new. And we can say, yeah, we know this, Doug, and we're not worried about it. I'm not saying be worried about it. I'm saying I think it's part of a bigger picture. Because once words get out there, notice what has happened in other areas of our society. Things become considered hate speech. And hate speech can lead to laws. And laws can lead to people being locked up. It is, in fact, what happened in Nazi Germany. It is, in fact, what happens in places like North Korea, Cambodia, the Vietnam War, North Vietnam. I mean, any of these places where you had tyrannical governments, Cuba, in our film that we just released in June, Doomed to Repeat It, it became public on July 5th. In Doomed to Repeat It, we pointed out clearly with the guests that we had on there, in particular, Lala Mooney and Carlos Pedro from Cuba. These are Cuban refugees. When Castro took over from Batista in 1959, by 1961, 2 years later, Bay of Pigs happens. And that happened in the morning. And by afternoon, Lala Mooney's house and many others were surrounded by military. They came in under the authority of Castro. They arrested people. In fact, in her family, I think 14 children or so, anybody 13 years old and older were taken away and put in some form of incarceration or jail. They had them on a list already, in other words. And when the Bay of Pigs happened, that's all they needed. That was the trigger. The lever was pulled, and all of these people were thrown in jail. To this day, Cuba still is communist. And Lala and Pedro both say they believed, and everybody did at the time, that this would not last. Castro's reign would not last. Che Guevara and all the brutality that was going on, the executions, the imprisonment, the rape, all this sort of stuff that was going on would not last. It is going on today, still. The intimidation, the wording, priests were chased out or imprisoned or executed, professors, people who spoke out with intelligence about what was happening, like today's voices that would do this. I don't know, people like a Jordan Peterson, possibly, or someone like there's so many voices you can think about who are actually approaching these things with practical reason and understanding about what's going on in our society. And a lot of them are being persecuted. And I believe that persecution is going to get worse. So when you have an article like The Atlantic that talks about the rosary in this way, that lays down groundwork that starts to establish a precedent, a way of thinking. Certain words, those words turn into ideas. Those ideas become beliefs for a lot of people. And they just got to keep feeding this and nurturing it, don't they? What's another term that's out there that has been used and used and used to the point where it has gotten it's gotten a lot of people in trouble. It's gotten some people fired. It has changed the way certain people actually behave in school systems, in the workplace. White privilege. You know it. You hear it. Books have been written about the evil of white privilege. What the heck does that even mean? Well, it doesn't matter what it means. The idea is out there. It's very much, again, like, say, a couple guys hanging out in a crowded room and people there, restaurant, wherever, and, Bob turns to Jim and says, "Hey, Jim, you stopped beating your wife yet?" And Jim says, "What are you talking about, Bob? I don't beat my wife." "Oh, okay. All right. I was just wondering, Ha ha, yuck, yuck. Well, what happens? Everybody who hears that, did I just hear what I thought I heard? And now they're going to be looking at them a little bit different. Maybe there will be some who are just going to blow it off. It was just a joke. There's nothing to it. There will be others who will say, I wonder. And then if they build on that, and then someone puts out more information, say, "Hey, sure about Jim's wife? Yeah, she looked she's a little tired. Like, I saw her getting out of the car. She looked like she might have been crying. You think so? Oh, maybe, yeah. Or maybe they had a fight. Oh, did you hear that the possibility that Jim beats his wife?" I mean, you could see this rolling. So what do they do about Catholics? Praying the rosary, being too radical, being too extreme. By the way, the word radical, I can speak from a lot of experience on this, is an English word that means go to the root. To be radical means you go to the root. It comes from the Latin word radix, which is the name of my ministry that I started 32 years ago. Radix is a Latin word that means root. That's all it means. It's a math term, the radical of a number, right? The root of the number. So you're nothing but a radical. If you are a radical, it means you're going to the root of something. It means that you are dedicated, possibly. My friend Eric Jenis is an amazing musician. There's nothing he can't play on piano. He's a concert pianist. He has written symphonies, a 90-piece symphony. He's played in Slovakia, all over Austria, all over the place. Right? He would practice piano when he was a kid. He and I traveled and worked together for over 20 years. And I would hear him say this over and over. When he would practice sometimes 7 to 8 hours a day as a teenager. 7 to 8 hours a day sometimes, which is why there's nothing he can't play. He can play anything from Billy Joel and Elvis to Mozart and Beethoven. Some would say that's radical because he goes to the root to be the best concert pianist he can be. Some would say that's extreme. You practice that much, that's extreme in a way that makes him the best concert pianist he can be. You can apply that to anything. Like I like Jeeps. I got a Jeep. And one of the places I've shopped at before is a place called Extreme Terrain. All right. So it's for those people who they really want to build out their vehicle and they want to go off-roading and they want it to be extreme off-roading. Crawling is a term that's used. Some of you might have heard of that. It's where you build out your Jeep or your vehicle in such a way that it will crawl up rocks. It is just, I don't do that. I'm not that extreme with my Jeep. But again, the idea of extreme terrain, does this sound like a bad website because they're extreme? They are tagging certain words like radical and extreme as being bad words, not just neutral words that can be applied in ways that are good or bad. You can be extreme with the all-you-can-eat food buffet, and that would probably be considered gluttonous, and that would be dangerous and unhealthy. That's a different way of looking at extreme in a way that is dangerous to your health. But the word itself is not bad, nor is the word radical. In and of itself, not bad. They are changing that. They meaning Marxist mindset, I don't care, left, whatever word you want to use, the godless in general, twist the words, change the definition in the minds of people, relate it to things like praying the rosary. It becomes tagged and associated as bad, dangerous. And I know for a fact that there are so many people who are on the edge with this stuff. I know because I've traveled for 32 plus years all over the country and outside the country, still travel, just got back from a trip recently. And I know there are people out there who are on the edge. And I bet you anything, there are people who, when they hear this article, hear about this stuff, someone's going to say, you should probably take that rosary off of your rearview mirror because it could offend someone. It could get you looked at as being too extreme, too radical. So behavior starts to change based on the ideas that come from these words. We need to lead better. We need to be better skilled even in our language and our conversation. Our workshop next week is going to address mainly some physical skills, things like storing water and filtering water and starting a fire, but other things too. Really addressing the need for us to pay attention to how we are looking at things in the world. Be skilled in the way we view things so that we don't fall into the traps. Be skilled in the way we look at a room full of boxes of gear. Gear does not equal skill, for example. Just like having the ability to speak, it doesn't mean we have the skill to understand how we should speak. Being able to read doesn't mean we have the skill to know what to read and how to process what we're reading so that we don't take in ideas that are dangerous and affect our behavior in a way that becomes destructive or hurtful. So skill is important. Next week's workshop, Skilled, August 30th, and make sure I get my times down again. August 30th, we've got 2 p.m. and September 1st, 7 p.m. August 30th, 2 p.m., September 1st, 7 p.m. It is in the chat box over here. Hey, Jen Young checking in from Scotland. I love it. We got Scotland chiming in now. I should catch up here a bit. We got Nellie from California. We got Gigi, the backyard herbalist from Indiana. God bless you, Doug. Got to go and pray the rosary now. God bless you, Rosary Crusaders. Heading out to pray the rosary. What else we got here? Let me see here. As a remnant, we will be small but mighty with our rosaries in hand. Way to go, prep and pray. Mike DeVita, good to hear from you, Mike. Scapular around the neck, rosary in pocket, 45 caliber government model under armpit. Nice, Mike. Good to know you're out there, brother. All right, Cold War Prepper GH says, I'm to be militia white extremist for carrying a rosary. Yeah, you bring that up, Cold War Prepper, about DHS. Department of Homeland Security has already made that clear that anybody who's a white Christian male, anybody who is involved in Christian behavior is considered potentially a domestic terroristic threat to the country. They floated that a long time ago. They got that out there in the current a long time ago. And we are seeing all around us now the fallout of those types of things, where even those of us Catholics, Christians in general, but us Catholics especially, who are rosary praying, God loving, God fearing, sacrament receiving, Bible preaching Catholics out there. I know, because I've talked to many, are thinking now, what does this mean for us now? So even if it doesn't cause us to back off, it definitely causes us to realize things are changing. And as they continue to change, like I do rallies and talks all the time. All right. And in fact, I'll be down on September 24th. I'll be in Tampa, Florida. September 24th, Tampa, Florida, speaking at a men's rosary rally event down there. It's out in the open. It's in a public square. Hicks Park, I think. It's Hicks something or something. More information will come out in the future on this. But you can look it up, September 24th, if you're in the Tampa area. And there's that thought that this is an area where they've had public displays of Antifa and pro-abortion rallies. And so they picked the spot because they want to claim it. They want to reclaim it for God. So in light of that, what you've got is in the back of the mind now, they're talking about rosary praying, white nationalists, extremists, potential domestic, all these words that have been floating around tied together on this. What's that going to mean for the men who come to this event? What will it mean if they're being watched now? What will that mean if something is said that someone deems as being hate speech because you don't support LGBTQ, LMNOP approach or something else along those lines? You're not a transgender supporter, embracer, celebrator. What will that mean when someone says, hey, I think we need to take you in for questioning? And it will affect, I know, someone, whether or not they'll come out to an event like this. I hope and pray what it does is it causes people to say, this is why we need to go out. We need to get involved in these things. Father Heilman and I are again pushing the Rosary Coast to Coast event, which is, it's the first Sunday. I think it's October 9th. Second Sunday, I believe, is what it is. In fact, hold on, let me pull up my calendar here. It's out in DC. We go to DC every year for this. And this year it is it's the Sunday the 9th. We always try to tie it closest to October 7th as possible. October 7th is Friday. That is the Feast of Our Lady of Victory in the old days. Now Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary, which is still Our Lady of Victory because of the Battle of Lepanto. So Sunday, October 9th, we will be in DC in front of the Capitol building praying the rosary again with people who come from all over the country. We've had people come out there from California for this. I'm willing to bet some of you here in the room right now have been there before. Rosario checking in from New York. Awesome. Good to hear from you. What else we got down here? Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good to hear from you, Mary, there. North Dakota checking in. Marty, awesome. Good to have you out there. But some of you have probably come out to that particular event. And hold on here. This is going to be a different year, though, because now this article that gets floated, and who knows what else comes out between now and October 9th. But there will be people who will think twice maybe about going out to this. There will be others who will say, you know what, this is where we toughen up and we go. The rosary in the hand, Holy Spirit in the heart. Hopefully you got friends on each side of you, and you get out there and you pray it. You engage spiritually, peacefully, yes, but you engage and you don't back down. The more they attack the rosary, says L77HO, the more we should pray it at public places. I agree 100% with that. I agree. This should not in any way cause us to back down. This should cause us to step out carefully. We want to be clever. Remember what our Lord says, be as clever as serpents, as gentle as a dove. We're not supposed to go out there running down the street with a flag and a big neon vest on when you got snipers on rooftops, just as if you're begging for them to take you out. We don't want to be taken off this spiritual battlefield. We want to be careful, want to be clever, but we also need to be bold enough to remember that Jesus did say, preach from the rooftops what you hear whispered in your heart. The power of the rosary, the power of stepping out in the midst of the spiritual battle is important. It's important, very important. So I agree with you there that the more they attack, the more we got to get out there. All right. Let's see. Jen Young says, Dennis Yante, Senior, hey, good to hear. Did Dennis chime in here? Did I miss you, Dennis? Our brother Dennis. There we go. Got 2 more rosaries since the article. Good for you, Dennis. Dennis is our good buddy from South Florida. And Dennis, I'm going to be down there in Tampa this September 24th. Man, I hope it works out. Maybe we can connect. Richard Reyna checking in from San Antonio. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate you, my friend. Good to have you out there, brother. Dennis, though, I think that's awesome. You went and picked up a couple more rosaries. Got to make sure we are loading up in the spiritual ammunition in that area. But we want to make sure that we're clever about this and that we're not out there again waving a flag, in such a way that says, take me out now. We want to stay engaged. Again, the title of this live is leadership. We want to talk about what kind of leadership we can really be providing for those around us that God, puts in our path. And again, it could be, hanging out at the orthodontist. I went to the orthodontist today. Okay. And getting some work done here, as you can see, and just interacting with them. And so she says to me at the end, this was kind of funny. She says, okay, this, you have any more questions? And I said, yeah. What do you think about this diesel fuel that's going on? They're starting to tap in and cutting into diesel fuel or the power grid stuff. And she looked at me and her eyes kind of rolled, and the hygienist friend was there with her. The partner was there. And she says, my husband gets into that all the time. I said, well, and we started talking for, 5 minutes. And I said, I just went to a conference and I told her about these intelligence officers, and they were clear. Apart from God, we're done. And she said, I agree with that. Now, what's funny is, unless you kind of put that out there, you don't know if they're on the same page with you. And I found out they were, and it seemed to create, just for a brief moment, this support of, yeah, we're together on this. I said, we need to be turning to God. We need to make sure we're doing the best we can on a natural level and trust the rest of God, but we've got to be engaged in this. And they both said, oh, absolutely agree, 100%. That's an example of just, we're just trying to help each other, trying to lead each other. God puts other people in our path, and we want to try to be there best we can. So again, Dennis, I hope it works out, man. I would love to have you connect with you sometime if it works out. I don't know how far you are from Tampa. Maybe we can connect and find out about that. We're in Tampa. It's not too far. I think it's, you know what? I'm going to pull it up real quick because I saw the email they just sent out on this. I told them I'd help promote it and support it because I just got off the phone with them yesterday and got it lined up here. Let's see if I can find it right here. Give me 1 second, everybody. I appreciate your patience. Pull this up right here. Let's see here. There, right there. Okay, this is going to be at September 24th, 9:45 in the morning. The Great Lawn of Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park. The Great Lawn of Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park in downtown Tampa. Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park, downtown Tampa, September 24th, 9:45 a.m. Rain or shine, they're going to do it rain or shine, except for hurricanes. They say, except for hurricanes, which makes sense, obviously. And special guest Doug Barry of Battle Ready is going to be there. So please feel free to join us if you're in the Tampa area. It's a men's rally. You might check and find out. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a men's rosary for our community. I'm pretty sure it's open for people to come, but the men are going to be doing a unique version of this rosary. Very, very ordered, very powerful. I think it's going to be fantastic. A lot of people are going to love it. That's September 24th. So Dennis, if you can get there, that'd be great. Or we can connect maybe through private message and figure something out. It'd be great to meet you personally. Also, don't forget the workshop next week, August 30th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Central Time, September 1st, 7 p.m. Central Time. These workshops are about training up in skills, being skilled. And there's so many different areas. Now, I know you can look at a whole list of skills that maybe we should be thinking about when it comes to being better prepared. And it's easy for us to look and say, look, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Look, I'll be the first to tell you there are skills I don't have yet either. I'm still working on stuff. But there are basic skills we can be addressing right away. And if you're doing anything at all, you're much further down the road than a lot of people. I would say it's probably safe to bet that the majority of people in this country or in this world are doing little or nothing to be better prepared. They're not even buying extra water. They don't have water filters. They don't have a solar-powered backup battery station. They don't have this stuff. A lot of people are doing nothing. They don't have a backup, emergency bag, go bag, emergency bag, bug out bag. They don't even have that. They're doing nothing. If you're doing anything, you're further along. If you have a solar-powered backup battery station or a couple of them, or you got extra water, you got a couple of lanterns, you got, I don't know, how about a tactical flashlight, right? You got things like that. You're further along. We want to continue to move on that though, and continue to grow and get better, right? If you can have a situation where you can have some, training and someone comes into your life and helps you, there are different resources out there, different parishes, you can find it. Maybe you got a good friend who can come along and say, hey, I can show you how to do this. I can show you how to do that. Basic self-defense is another thing of training. I'm really adamant about that. Simply knowing how to stand so you don't get knocked over, knowing how to respond, how to block, how to protect. You ladies in particular, I really can't stress it enough. Have an idea how to protect and defend. Gouging the eye, throat punch, rake the face. I would say you got fingernails, ladies, collect DNA with those fingernails. These are things we got to talk about. Train up skills. So we want to help people be better trained. Next week's workshop is going to address some key areas, basic type training areas that will help you become better skilled. So remember, August 30th, 2 p.m. Central Time, September 1st, 7 p.m. Central Time. If these fill up, we will add more. We've done this before. We will add more. We want to reach as many people as possible. I don't want to be a sky is falling guy. That's not my point. I'm not a doom and gloomer. It's not it. I'm very hopeful. If I wasn't hopeful, I wouldn't be doing this. I really wouldn't. If I wasn't hopeful, I wouldn't believe that you can have a live like this. You can hopefully encourage people. We can work together. We can make things better. We can lessen the seriousness of the problem. We can mitigate it, right? We can diffuse a bit. We can de-escalate. But we do need to take steps in order for that to happen, right? We have to. So we want to address the best we can how we can be better skilled and be better leaders in general, because there are people counting on us. We all know that. And there are people that are counting on you maybe that you don't even see on a regular basis. Maybe just them. You could be halfway across the country from a friend, for example. And they're counting on you to do the best you can to take care of yourself because you mean something to them. That alone can be a major inspiration to help them get through the day. They might wake up every morning and think, things are rough, things are tough. No, Dennis says we're in Tampa. It's not too far. Hope that's not too far for you. Sorry, real quick, a couple thoughts come in here. I'll finish my thought. Don't worry. Auxilium, Christian Orm, Rosary, Divine Mercy Chaplet, daily minimums. Very good. I love that. 74, inspect. Right now, the 54-day Rosary Novena is going on. For those who've been following, Father Heilman started it on August 15th, Feast of Our Lady's Assumption. And so we have the 54-day Rosary Novena going on. I'm doing Rosary Novena. We got to pray Rosary every day, but we should be. Our Lady's been asking for that for a long time. But these can be basic things that are very powerful. So if you haven't been doing, even the 54-day Rosary Novena, you can get on board right now. Go out to usgraceforce.com if you want to sign up and receive the meditations that Father sends out. He's sending them out every day. That's a helpful way for some people. Some people need the meditations, some don't. That's entirely up to you, obviously. Let's see. Gigi Backyard Herbalist says, a friend of mine and I are giving classes in September. What if there is no doctor? I teach about herbs, and she is an EMT. She also does basic emergency first aid. Perfect, Gigi. That's the sort of thing we're talking about. Develop the skills. Even basic things like CPR, the Heimlich maneuver. These are basic skills that can help save a life. You come upon a car accident on the side of the road. For example, in my go bag, in my Jeep, I've got a tourniquet, I've got quick clot, and I've got what's called an Israeli bandage. These are special pressure bandages, and you got a 4-inch or 6-inch pad. They've got 70 inches of cloth. You wrap it around, hook it on a plastic hook, pull it back the other way. You tighten it down. You got a pressure bandage. You come upon a car accident, let alone a knife wound or gunshot. You put the quick clot in the wound. You stuff it in there. The chemical in the quick clot, in the clot there, and on the cloth works with the blood and helps coagulate and helps stop the bleeding faster. You put the tourniquet on. You put the quick clot in. You put the pressure bandage on. You could save a life. That simple. But not having the gear or the skill to do it creates a problem. What you're talking about, Gigi, is having an EMT who can do basic emergency first aid. That's what we're talking about. Take it upon yourselves. Find the right resources, the people that know what they're doing, the people that are good at it, and start organizing things. That's leadership that can get this done. I know people that are doing this in parishes. Not a lot. I wish more. At least I'm not hearing about a lot. I know it's happening though. And they have someone in the parish who's an EMT or an herbalist like Gigi here. And they're going to say, hey, here's some things you can look at. The foods in your area where you live, whether it's the state of Washington, the state of Arizona, the state of North Carolina, maybe it's the state of Texas. Know what you've got in your area that can work, the plants that can work to help save lives that you can rely on to eat if you can't get a food source going. Like, grocery stores are running out of food. If that happens, what are you going to do? Well, you might find stuff out in the wilderness, but you got to know what you're looking for. So having the training on that is important. Having the right books. These are skills that we can all develop. I have several books I have on survival stuff, whether it's building a lean-to in case you're out in the wilderness somewhere, and it could be because your cities could go bad and you got to get out in the wilderness. A lot of people have no clue what the first thing is to do to build even a shelter. All right. In my go bag, I've got paracord, a hunting knife. I got a whole bunch of stuff in there, but paracord, a hunting knife, and a tarp. I got a 5x7 foot tarp rolled up in my bag. That alone, I can build a decent shelter. So these are the things we need to be looking at. Having the paracord, the tarp, and the hunting knife alone doesn't accomplish the shelter. Having the skill to use them to build the shelter is part of the big picture. We need to be better skilled. So we're going to talk about that next week, August 30th, 2 p.m. Central Time, September 1st, 7 p.m. Central Time. Go to brcoalition.com, brcoalition.com/skills. If you go to brcoalition.com, it'll come up. I just did. It's right there. Boom. It's on the front page. You can click, I'm in, save my seat, and you'll get right there. That'll work. brcoalition.com/skills gets you right there. So I'm going to wrap this up in just a little bit here. Let's hit a couple more comments here real quick, though. Boom, boom. What we got here? Karen says, we have begun the 54-day novena via Zoom with our family that has moved away. Good for you, Karen. That's awesome. I love that. Donna says, saying the 54-day Rosary novena. Beautiful. Love it. Jeannie's asking, give those dates again, please. Okay, just did. I'll do it again. August 30th, which is next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. September 1st, which is next Thursday. So Tuesday and Thursday next week. August 30th, September 1st, 2 p.m. in the afternoon on Tuesday, 7 p.m. in the evening on Thursday, Central Time, both. You'll find all of that when you go out to brcoalition.com or /skills, and you can get it right there. Let's see. Cold War Pepper says, hey, people, 131 watching, only 42 thumbs up. He deserves a lot more than that. Thank you, Cold War Pepper. I appreciate that. Oh, it just jumped to 50. That's good. God bless you. You know what's funny about that? You bring up a good point there, Cold War Pepper, is when we like, subscribe, share, that affects the algorithms on YouTube. So no matter what it is you're out there doing, if it's good material, good information, for example, when this is finished, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. You can share it with others. But when you like, when you subscribe to the channel, when you share, what that does in YouTube world is it affects that whole behind the scenes computer algorithm thing. And it gets recommended more. It gets out there more. So if you've got good material out there, U.S. Grace Force podcast, for example, or any other good podcast or videos that are out there that are helping people, that are good, helpful, holy material for people, you like them, you subscribe to those channels, you share them, that gets picked up by YouTube's algorithms, and that affects the big picture of it all. So keep that in mind as you do that, as you go forward with that. Okay, moving on down here. Make sure we got all these covered here. Gigi back here. I'm asking someone to video. Okay, so you can share it. Good for you, Gigi. All right. Hi from Alberta, Canada. We got Canada checking in. So we got Scotland, Ireland, Canada, the U.S. Love it. This again shows that God has given us the technology right now. We need to be using it effectively to reach as many people as possible in the times that we are in and with the time that we have left. All right, I got to check a message on here. Give me 1 second. Hold on here. Okay, very good. We are good there. All right. Moving on down here. I want to check out. Jeannie says, I want to check out a gun. Thanks, Doug. God, awesome, Jeannie. When it comes to firearms, I'm going to adamantly say be well-trained. Know the laws in your state. They vary from state to state. Castle laws, which basically means self-defense in your home and so forth. Know the laws in your state, your concealed carry laws or open carry laws or constitutional carry laws. Know what your state provides. Follow the laws. Absolutely. Be trained. Know how to use the firearm. Be very well skilled and train regularly. Right? Don't just say, I'm going to get training once and that's going to be it. Get my concealed carry class gun, of course, and that's it. I'm done. Be well trained in different situations, different scenarios, tactically, and so forth. It's not about standing there and shooting a paper target. As a friend of mine, ex-military, said, paper targets never shoot back. So that doesn't mean you train with people shooting back. That's not the point, obviously. But there are things that we can do to help us be better prepared in certain crisis situations where you might be engaged in some sort of return fire. Let's see here. Okay. Moving down, a couple more comments here. We're about an hour, so we're going to wrap this up here in just a few minutes. Mary Follis, this is great. So glad I made it. I want to bring this up to some people in my parish, see if they'd be willing to work together. Mary, yes, and yes. You go and do that. That's awesome. That's what we need. Mary sets an example with that statement there. That's the leadership we're talking about. We want to be better leaders. We need to be engaging where we can. I know it's not easy for everybody. Some of us are more introverted. And in all honesty, maybe you all don't believe this. I am more of an introvert. I really am. If I'm not doing things like this, where it's about evangelization or trying to help with training type of things, or public speaking, you wouldn't think introvert, public speaker, how does that work? I don't get that. If I'm not doing these things, I just kind of want to go and be alone, hang out with people close to me. I don't necessarily have that great desire to be out there and be social all the time. But that doesn't mean that I haven't felt God put it on my heart to get out there and do things like this when it's necessary. And I do believe now we've all got to be looking at ourselves and asking the question, what can I be doing to help more people be better prepared? Help people find hope. Hope. And hope is found really when you have a plan of action in the face of a crisis. And that action could be prayer, the act of praying. You're concerned, you're upset, you're scared. You're trying to work out some situation. You're trying to figure out a way to find clarity from God. You're praying, God, make a path. Show me something. That is an act to pray. So I encourage all of you out there to start with that, of course, first and foremost, and a lot. Daily prayer. Rosary's great. Obviously, powerful. Our Lady has made that clear. She's asked us to pray the rosary daily. She says it can avert war. The act of praying the rosary can avert war and bring peace to the world. That's what she said. If it can avert war and bring peace to the world, it can also bring clarity in our lives, help God show us the path that he wants us to follow. He'll create those paths. He is the God of the universe. This has really been on my mind a lot. God is orchestrating the existence and sustaining the existence of the universe, stuff that we can't even see. We got the Hubble telescope and now we got the James Webb telescope. We think, wow, there's so much we can see. And you're right, it's fantastic. It's amazing. But God's greatness goes far beyond what we can see with these incredible telescopes that we have. But what we can see with these telescopes is plenty to show us how amazing he is. And if he can order the universe like that, if he can sustain the existence of the universe, he can create a path. We have to believe, we have to trust, we have to pray like crazy. But be to other people, like Mary here. She's going to work with other people in a parish about bringing people together on this. That's the sort of thing, and I know many of you are maybe doing that already. Jane checking in from Sartell, Minnesota. One of my favorite jokes, don't you, about Minnesota. That's where they make very small sodas. Okay. Enough of that. All right. I like it. People talking to each other here. Good. Love it. Okay. Jeannie went to Kitty McKinnon class before I get one. Okay. Nice. All right. Went to Kittery, Massachusetts, it looks like, or Maine. And they told me to take a class before you can get one. Yeah, Jeannie, the different rules and regulations in your area, you don't have to take a class before you buy a gun in Texas. You don't. In other states, I think, like Arizona, Nebraska, Florida, South Carolina, there are places out there where I don't think, you don't have to. You just don't have to. But there are some places that have gotten to the point where before you can actually get a firearm, you have to write a letter, submit it to the city council or whoever, and they have to approve it. They have to believe you have good enough reason to own a firearm. This is the craziness of our country right now and the division in our country. And don't think that it's not going to get worse, because I'm not a doom and gloom, as I've said. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. Look at what's going on and ask yourself the question, where's the accountability? Just like we say there's no accountability for the bishops, and a lot of them are funded by Marxists. Well, there's no accountability to many of our government officials either. We know this, we see this. So we have to follow the laws, but we need to be acting on these things as soon as possible. If you're going to be able to accomplish certain things, don't waste time. Okay, and that's what next week's workshop really, hopefully, will help with. How do we get the skills down? But also, how do we take the steps in our area to act upon things so we can put things in place to be better prepared before even laws change and we can't do that. It was reported just yesterday. I saw a news report, heard it verified by another news report today, that the federal government went after an Amish farmer who was raising cattle and crops organically, wasn't using fertilizer, they don't even use electricity on Amish farms. And he was doing this, and they were getting after him because they didn't know, they said, if he was really following all the rules and regulations. And so they shut him down and fined him $300,000. If that isn't sending a message, if that isn't the chilling effect for a lot of people, I don't know what else is. So this sort of stuff is happening, and it's happening real time, and it's happening quickly. So let's be better prepared. Join that workshop next week. Tuesday, August 30th, 2 p.m. Central. Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m. Central. And if those fill up, we will add more. Okay, so don't panic. If you get there and they fill up, don't panic. We will add more. Okay, I'm going to wrap this here. I want to make sure we get a couple more comments in here. Let's see here. Ramiro Martinez, pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet for more lenient chastisement. That's absolutely true. We can lessen the gravity. God's mercy is amazing. I was talking to a good friend of mine about this just recently. We can't even fathom the depth of his mercy. We can't. We can't. I'm a human father, and I'm a weak human father. But the mercy I want for my kids, I want them. I don't want to have to chastise them. Well, they're all out of the house now, so it's a different scenario. All right? They all moved on. But I didn't ever want to punish them. I wanted them to learn and grow and get better. So if I, as a very weak human father, can love my kids enough that way, then the perfect Heavenly Father doesn't want to level chastisement on us. When the Blessed Mother says in Akita 1973, when she's talking to Sister Agnes Sasagawa, and she says, God is angry. Because of his anger, the world's going to know this because he's preparing to inflict a serious chastisement to the world. She goes on October 13th to talk about the falling of the sun from the sky, that fire, forgive me, I'm getting my miracles mixed up here, that fire will fall from the sky and a great multitude of the world will be annihilated. But how grave and serious that is, and the gravity of that chastisement and the chaos that goes with it, will be largely determined by how you and I respond now. So that's absolutely right. Praying the rosary, praying the Divine Mercy Chaplet. These are things we do with BR Coalition. This Thursday, tomorrow, we have a BRC live, and we'll be praying the rosary, I believe, tomorrow together as a team. I believe it's a rosary. This is what we've been called to do. Engage spiritually, trust in God, yes, act naturally where we can, but do what we can to show God we're serious about trying to listen to him. Look, I'll be the first one to tell you, the older I get, the harder it is for me to figure some of this stuff out with God, because he is just beyond so much, right? But I have figured this out. I just need to pray to listen to him. Please, Lord, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me know what you're asking of me. Let me know where you're directing the path for me. That's something I pray for every single day. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Jeannie talking about this. I saw how they handled the gun. That is why for my classes, I'm doing it, but my heart is not into it. Rhode Island has a 10-round limit. Kittery's in Maine. Thank you. I know now that's Maine. I appreciate that. Yeah, the 10-round limit thing just baffles me, except what their ultimate plan is, to disarm everyone. You can't do what they have clearly shown they want to do if they don't really hurt that area of us, disarm or seriously hinder our ability to defend ourselves. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. It's not about sports shooting. The Second Amendment is not about popping aluminum cans off a fence out in a field somewhere. The Second Amendment was written primarily for protection against a tyrannical government. Full stop. Now, in addition to that, you can add personal self-defense. No question. That's also part of it. And then you can bring into that sports shooting and hunting and so forth. Don't fall into their language. When they use these terminologies that, oh, it's only about shooting deer, don't wear Kevlar vests, we heard. You don't need more than 10 rounds to go hunting, we heard. And keep hearing. Remember what I said at the beginning of the live? The dialectic, the language, the dialogue. They keep hammering these phrases, these words, and they do this to build up in us and in others, especially those that are on the fence, in the middle, not sure. They build up in us a different way of thinking, and the way we think affects what we believe, and what we believe affects our behavior. And if people are believing because they're thinking due to hearing over and over that, you don't need more than 10 rounds to go hunting. Yeah, deer don't wear Kevlar vests, and all this sort of malarkey that comes out of them. If we start thinking that way, we'll start believing that when they start passing certain laws, like 10 round limit, 10 round magazines, people will go along with it, not seeing what might be behind all of that. Look at Cuba. After Castro took over, he said to the people, and this is in our film, Doomed to Repeat It. Lala made it very clear, Cuban refugee. Castro came in and promised us, you don't need your firearms anymore. We will take care of you. We'll take care of you. The government will take care of you. Right now, I know some of you are thinking of those words of Ronald Reagan. Most dangerous words you'll ever hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Castro said that. We'll take care of you. You won't need to worry about firearms. Turn them all in. And a lot of people did. And the people that were concerned, who said, I don't know about this, a lot of them, they were confiscated from. So they will start working little by little through laws, through manipulation, red flag laws after something like the Uvalde debacle. And they will start working little by little in these areas until they disarm enough. And then they're in a position where, they can do what they want. We've seen it over and over. We have to be vigilant, prayerful, peaceful, yes, peaceful, but vigilant. And this is where being better skilled helps. Skilled in our language, skilled in our knowledge of what's going on, skilled in preparation of things around us, whether it's food, water, shelter, starting a fire, reading a map, all these types of things. Be better skilled. If you're doing anything, you're doing more than a lot of people. And God bless you. That's awesome. But let's keep going one step further. And hopefully you're all in a position sooner or later where, who knows, you find yourself in a position where you've got someone close by or right there at your disposal to give you some personal training in something. That's great if you can do that. A lot of personal training sort of scenarios to help you with, tying knots or starting a fire, filtering water, self-defense, all types of things. And if you can find those situations, like Gigi's Backyard Herbalist is setting up right now, that is the sort of thing that we want to get after. So if you can find that, those resources are available. There are good people out there who want to help each other. Try to find those people if you can. Okay, let's see here. I pray the St. Michael Chaplet for protection for my family. Way to go, Kathy. That is awesome. Divine Mercy says we have to understand God doesn't hide from us what he is doing so we can prepare and repent. Very good. That's awesome. I love that. Let's see here. Any other comments here before we wrap this up? Kathy says, especially now that they're arming the IRS. Good point. IRS, they want to add another 80-some thousand IRS agents. They bought X number, like $700,000 worth of, or $700 million worth of ammunition. I forget what the number is, astronomical number. And I saw a training video come out. They're training IRS agents to come in and actually arrest people with guns drawn. This was the training video. Now, I have to tell you, when I saw the video, I laughed at the video. I laughed at the training thinking, okay, they've got a ways to go before they get really good at it. But the fact that they're doing it says something. Why would you be arming IRS agents to draw guns on U.S. citizens? So there are a lot of red flags out there for us to be thinking about, paying attention to. All right. Donna says, darn, wanted to get in at the beginning. Goats on my highway. Roundup fences had to be mended. All right, Donna, that's funny. That's a good way to end this. Donna, I'm sorry you got in late on it, but it will be posted immediately Well, pretty quickly. I'm not sure how long it takes. It goes through a process and then it goes up on my YouTube channel, the Doug Barry YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps. The algorithms, of course, there's a number of videos out there that I think will help people. I hope help people. And before I wrap up, I definitely want to remind everybody next week, Tuesday, August 30th, workshop, free workshop. Skilled is the name of it. 2 p.m. Central Time, Tuesday, August 30th. Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m., second workshop. Again, Skilled. If they fill up and they're free, we will add more. Okay. But we really want to get you all out there and get you signed up, get you on board, and get trained up. Even if you pick up one thing from the workshop, one, that's going to help. Because when we get better skilled, it helps us become better leaders. And we're all called to leadership, as the title of this live is. We are all called to leadership. But when we get better trained up, what we do is we expand our ability to think in general. And a good friend of mine today, we're having lunch, and he says to me, "Yeah, Doug, this one thing I would encourage people to think about." And we've said this in BRC before many times, and I love that he said it. So I want to echo what he said: is this is lifestyle change. We have to be willing to change our lifestyle in order for us to be better trained, better prepared, and move differently. For example, I don't know, you're out for a walk. Do you have a tactical flashlight with you at night in particular? Or do you keep pepper spray with you? Maybe you're taking the dog out late at night. It's good to have pepper spray. Just make sure you're safe, right? It's important to have, again, like a flashlight, just to light up the backyard, light up the driveway. Make sure that you're checking your corners and there's nobody there that's wanting to hurt you. Or, for example, are you storing up water? What kind of container should you use? It might be one thing. You learn one thing from the course: the flashlight, the pepper spray, storing up water, the right kind of plastic containers to put them in, how to filter it. These types of things. One thing alone starts to affect the lifestyle. And the lifestyle that we live oftentimes can lead to a better chance of surviving a crisis. Having a go bag in your car, that's a lifestyle change. A lot of people don't want to take the time to put the go bag together, let alone have it in the vehicle. Periodically, maybe every few months or 6 months, go through it, make sure you're changing out things, that everything is taken care of, and you're paying attention. When I had kids living at home, my go bag was different because I had children. Now my kids have all moved out, my go bag has changed. If you're a young parent and you got babies, you got to have diapers with you, right? And so forth. If you are, older, then obviously the diapers go. So you just got to think about that. It's a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle that we live in order to be better prepared. Because again, remember, it's not just about you. There are people counting on you. They are. Even if they're somewhere else in the country or somewhere else in the world. If you've got a loved one out there that's counting on you, you set an example. You help them by living a life in a way that says, I'm trying to take care of myself. You can be more at peace where you are because I'm over here taking care of myself. And I'm being better prepared. I'm getting skilled. I'm getting trained up. That helps a lot. So, all right, with that, I think I'm going to wrap this up. A few more comments have been coming in here. Do friends have to be a BRC member to attend the Skilled Seminar? No, Pamela, you do not have to be a BR Coalition member to attend the Skilled Seminar. Anybody can sign up. Anybody. So share this with as many people as you can. We all know people out there that are seeing what's going on. Maybe they're thinking about it, but they're just not sure what to do. They don't know where to start. And that's a big thing we've tried to do with BR Coalition with our BREP course, our Battle Ready Emergency Preparedness course, which you can find through brcoalition.com. brcoalition.com for all this information that we're talking about. But we have a BREP course, Battle Ready Emergency Preparedness course. And there are people who sign up for just that. They don't have to be a BR Coalition member to sign up for that. But these are the types of things we're trying to put out, especially through the lens of the Catholic faith. How does God want us to look at these things? A lot of people just say we're going to trust Jesus. We're not going to get food and water. God will take care of us. And yet the corporal works of mercy talk about feeding, giving drink to the thirsty, sheltering the homeless, and so forth, caring for the sick. You can't care for the sick if you don't got a med kit, if you don't got some medicine. And if a crisis hits and there are people that are hurting and sick, we can walk by and pray for them all we want. But if this guy's got a wound that needs to be dressed and cleaned, but we don't know how to do it, and we don't have any medical provisions to do that, I'm just going to pray for you. Well, I'm still bleeding. I have a wound that's dirty. It needs to be cleaned. Yeah, I'm going to pray for you though. Had I thought about it in advance, I might have gotten a med kit and kept it in my car. Then I could actually help you with this, but I didn't because I'm just going to trust Jesus. I'm not making fun of people. I'm not, but I know there are people that think that way. And it is not what we're called to as Christian of any denomination, especially Catholics. That's not how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live with the idea that if I see someone who needs some help, I need to help them. What was the whole story of the Good Samaritan? When Jesus talks about the man's beat up and people coming by, they won't touch him for various reasons. And so the story is oftentimes looked at as, well, Jesus is saying that anybody, even the person who is not of your race or your culture, oh, we're not supposed to go near them. No, you help them because Christ is in them. Okay. But notice what he did. He physically cared for him, dressed his wounds, took him to an innkeeper and said, here, take care of him. Here's some money. I'll come back later. If it costs more than this, I'll give you more money. In other words, provisions on a natural level in that story say to us, that's important. So getting better trained up is important. So went off on a tangent there. No, you do not have to be a BR Coalition member to join in. I hope this gets spread wide and far. We need to help as many people as possible think about changing their lifestyle, be better trained, better skilled, so that no matter what happens on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't even have to be a crisis. It doesn't have to be grid down, apocalyptic event. It doesn't have to be a natural disaster like a storm of some sort. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a flat tire on the side of the road. Recently, I was speaking at an event. I'll tell you this quick story before I go. I was speaking at an event last Sunday, self-defense training after a mass. There was a priest. I've been doing some work with him in this area. He invited me in again. I came in with a couple of my friends for some self-defense training. We went in there. We gave a good talk. Hopefully these people, hopefully it was good. Hopefully people responded. Response seemed good. A lot of them said, hey, I never thought about a lot of this stuff. About 50 people in the room. And after the talk is over, we're leaving. And one of my buddies comes over and he says, hey, my battery's dead. Left the lights on. Can you help me out? Pull my Jeep over, pull out the NOCO battery charger. It's about so big, right? 2 little jumper cables, negative, positive, turn it on, hit the button, turn the ignition, boom, truck fired right up. That's one of those things where preparation, having the right gear, knowing how to operate it, and you solve a problem and you bring hope. He knew he could count on me because he knew I had jumper cables. He didn't know I had that little NOCO device, which is really great. But I got jumper cables as well. I got a backup redundancy rule. 2 is 1, 1 is none. Okay. So jumper cables and the NOCO device. What I'm saying is it doesn't have to be a natural disaster to be skilled and trained to help people on a daily basis. But in light of everything happening in our world right now, not a bad idea to be trained up for even more serious events. Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to wrap this up. Remember, next week, the skilled workshop. Next week, free workshop, Tuesday, August 30th, 2 p.m. Central Time. Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m. Central Time. Go out to brcoalition.com/skilled, or just brcoalition.com. You'll find it there. And if you're interested, there's more on BR Coalition, different events, different things we got coming up. The BREP course, BR Coalition membership opening up next month, I believe, or close to. I think it's October. It's opening up. So anyway, check it all out. I look forward to seeing you at the Skilled Workshop next week. Okay. All right. Find the end here. And there it is. God bless and strengthen you all in this fight. Don't ever lay your sword down on the battlefield and walk away. There is far too much at stake. We'll see you soon.